Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Perfect, much better. Good morning to those watching us online. Thank you for coming. Um, our lovely summer, it's apparently gone now, so buckle up. It's going downhill from now on. But happy to have you guys here on this gloomy day to talk about charity. So our friend Rafa will do the lecture for us today, and he will talk lots about charity. But before we do that, Tiago will do the initial reading and prayer for us.
The reading today is from the book Happy Life by the Spirit of João de Angelis and psychography of Divaldo Pereira. Jesus said, "Do not let your heart be grieved." Teaching that calmness and a belief in God should be the watchwords of any individual desiring to find happiness. There are always reasons for worry, disquieting the heart and perturbing life. Human existence is an opportunity to appreciate eternal riches and inner enlightenment. If you turn your anxieties over to God and trust Him with your life, everything will turn out all right. And if something disturbing does occur, serenity will take charge of the situation, and all will be well. For this reason, do not let your heart or mind be unsettled by unfortunate occurrences. So with this, let us close our eyes and elevate our thoughts and our minds to God, and let us pray. Dear God, thank you so much for this opportunity of being gathered here at the TSS, for this opportunity to learn and hear and reflect about our life and about your teachings. In light, our brother Raphael will bring uh, his thoughts today and share his views, and may our good spirits, our light spirits enlighten him in this mission. May all your good vibrations enlighten our hearts and be with us today and always, and so be it.
So good.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So even though it's a gloomy day, but the sun always shines, at least for us here now. Another opportunity to talk about spiritism, to reflect a little bit of about our lives, and to try to remember the teachings of Jesus and the truth that we all know it already. We just have to remember. So for me, it's always a blessing to have this chance to come here. First, I have to learn all this or remember all this so that I can have to talk about. So I'm the first one actually to listen to my own voice. That makes me learn more than anybody else. So today I would like to talk about charity. Nothing fancy, just a simple conversation. And when we talk about charity, we remember the word that without charity there is no salvation. We hear that everywhere. I remember in Brazil, in the Spirit Center that I used to go, where you park your car in the parking lot. There was this, without charity there's no salvation. So everybody who parked their car, they would read that. It was the first thing you would read when you got to the Spirit Center. Brazil Spirit Centers are very big, so you have different, several buildings and a huge parking lot, so there's a lot of people that you see there. And this is actually the 15th chapter of the Gospel according to Spiritism. And you see the word charity throughout every chapter, every book about Spiritism, every book of the codification, and every psychographic book. In Spiritism, charity in its purest form is always the main theme. And that's very interesting because it's not Spiritism itself. It's charity is the goal. It's not the the propagation of Spiritism itself. It's a propagation of charity, love, benevolence, indulgence. That's the main goal for all of us. Spiritism is one of the tools that we use to get there. It's the tool that we accept for ourselves, but there are many of the different tools around there, many different ways. But the goal is always the same: charity. And on that note, there's a book that was psychographed by Divaldo Franco, and it was written by Manuel Filomeno de Miranda, about from the series of planetary transition that explains what our planet is it's going through right now. So the second book, so we have 3 books. The second book from 2012, Dawn of a New Era. Bezerra de Menezes, in this book, he's doing an analysis of the religions that we see in our planet and how they always start with sacred books. And first there's a missionary. There's always a missionary. There's a person, prophet, that he comes to preach the truth, to preach love and, of course, charity. And then there's a group that follows that missionary, and then that missionary passes away. And that group remains together, and they put a label to differentiate from others. That's the first thing. Nothing wrong there. And then they make they put together the sacred books and the sacred teachings. And then this passes on, little by little, to other generations, and so far, so on. And what happens with almost every religion is that we lose ourselves, and we start listening more to selfishness and pride, and we forget the original teachings from the missionaries that we want to follow. All of them. That happens when these enlightened spirits are also here, are still here. If you guys remember when Jesus was with his apostles, Peter and I believe it was Andrew, they had an argument with Jewish authorities about God and forgiveness and the teachings of Jesus. And then they went to Jesus to say, we had this debate, we defended you, we defended your ideas. And Jesus said, well, why did you lose your time? That's useless. You have to show through your own work, through your own actions. My words are the words of practice. Charity is something that you do in your daily basis. That's how you show that to people. You don't have arguments that are useless. It's just a pride match between people. And this was when Jesus was still there. But the thing is that when we are left on our own, we lose the way. And then we start thinking that the groups with different labels, they are inferior to us. It offends us, the way that they behave. And then we have wars, which is something very ironic, because we do exactly the opposite. So we try to defend our faith and our position and what we believe. But by using violence to defend that, we are going against the very beliefs, the very faith that we are trying to defend. So it's a very interesting way that we lose ourselves in pride and selfishness. And Bezerra de Menezes is talking about that in this book. And then Manuel Filomeno de Miranda starts thinking about Spiritism. And he thinks, maybe Spiritism will be the religion of the future. Maybe everybody's going to become Spiritists. Because one of the first things that helps us is that we know that other religions are also right. So we don't think that we are the only ones. That's the first thing. We have to respect others. And then we have our science and philosophy. But then he thinks again and he concludes Spiritism is not going to be the religion of the future. Because for the very reason that we have to respect different cultures. People like to express their spirituality in different ways. So we cannot ask everybody to express in the way that we are doing now, with chairs and we sit here. So maybe people prefer to sit on the floor. Maybe they prefer to enchant something, to sing a song. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. So Spiritism will not be the religion of the future, but it may be the future of religions. Why? Because from what we learn from the Spirit of Truth, from what we learn from Spiritism, of looking inside of us and trying to modify ourselves, to try to become a good person, maybe this is going to bring the other religions back to their sacred books. Maybe they're going to, the Spiritism will remind them of what they believed in the beginning. So that was the message from Bezerra de Menezes and Manuel Filomeno de Miranda. And that is directly related to charity, which is higher or is more important than any label or any belief or any faith. It's just to be charitable. I will define this as Jesus wanted to be defined throughout this presentation. And when I mention a good person, is the good person that we read in the Gospel according to Spiritism. Is what it means to be a good person, to act, to treat others as you would like them to treat you. Basically, that's the goal. And we also see in the Spirit's book, when we read about the law of society, and we have the same concept that sometimes it comes to our mind, the same thing that is thinking that Spiritism will be the religion of everybody. Everybody will be Spiritist. We think that we're going to have only one society. So when the Spirits tell us what charity applied to a society means, so we respect each other's rights, we forgive whoever offends us, we are benevolent. And then Kardec asks, okay, we're going to have only one society? Everybody's going to be the same? And the answer again is no. It will never be this way. Because we are still individuals. We are different. One day we'll learn to use charity in all its purest form, but it will never be the same society because we are still individuals. We still have our own individuality as spirits and collectively. So there's still going to be different countries, there's still going to be different cultures, and that's all okay. It's all good. There's no problem there. The problem is when we start thinking that this culture is more important than the other. And we do whatever we can to erase the other. Now, I would like to address another point. Namely, why is it that the Spirit of Truth can help us to become better people, to become a good person, and to help other religions to remember their own values? What is or why is it that the Spirit of Truth can clarify and bring forth the teachings of Jesus? Why is it that there is that power? Let me put it another way. Why is it that so many of us read a Spiritist book and that touches us, and we don't need any further proof? We read that, whatever, violets on the window or the Spirit's book or No Solar, and we read that and we, oh my God, this is what I needed. This is my way. What does it mean, this truth? Of course, there's the fact that we don't deny science ever. We always take science into account, and we apply the scientific method in our mediumship meetings. But that there's something much more powerful than that, that every missionary that comes to earth to preach these teachings use. And this tool is the truth, but the truth with a capital T. And that would be, oh, this is very vague. What do you mean the truth with a capital T? Is the truth that we are all know. We have it inside of us. It's dormant, but we have it inside of us. We know it's truth. That's the tool that these missionaries, and sometimes when we have a moment of clarity, we do it too. We show people things that they already know it's right. They just forgot. We show it. And we can see on the Jesus examples. For example, why are you the king of Jews? Or are you the king of the Jews? You're the one saying it, not me. So very simple. That's Jesus' answer. Or who are you to preach the word of God? Did you study in Greece, in Rome? So it's a high priest asking Christ. At that time, to study in Athens and to study in Rome is like Harvard, Oxford. That's where you would go to have the highest education in the world. And Jesus answered, I know God and I know love. What else do I need? And when he says that, the priest has nothing to say because he knows that is true. Because he knows in his heart, yes, that's correct. Even though, because of pride, he will never say, and he didn't say that Christ was right. He didn't say it, but he knew. And that's why it hurts. Should we pay taxes to an invader, a conquering empire? So you see that I'm putting some context in the events that happened that we all know from the Bible. So Jesus would answer, whose money are you using? So in your pocket, whose coin are you using? Whose resources are paying for the infrastructure of this region? So you have a market, you have commerce, you have buildings. Who is paying for all that? So you give them what is theirs. To Caesar what is Caesar's. So that's what he meant. And there's nothing, again, he speaks the truth. So that those people would see the logic. There's nothing they can say. It is the truth. Because they all knew that that was right. Because we have the right and wrong inside of us. And then when they wanted to stone to death the adulterous woman, they would say, who are you to judge this woman? You don't have any sin, any mark of the sin in yourself. And then people just left. What do you do with a person like that? It's so simple. It's so simple. They show us our own truth. And there's nothing we can do because it's a person that can see the truth inside of us and just show it to us. So what can we do? What did we do? Well, historically, we get very angry and we kill him. That's what happened to Socrates, that's what happened with Jesus. Why? Why do we do that? Because we are stubborn, we use a shield. It's called pride. And we use this shield to protect ourselves. But why would you need to protect yourself? In order to explain that, and to show that the truth is actually the truth for everybody, we can do a thought experiment. If I ask 8 billion people, everybody in this world, if I ask them, what is best? What is the best behavior? A, charity towards all beings, all. And B, to be selfish and proud. What do you guys think that most people will answer? They will answer A. They will say, of course, charity toward all beings. I'm sure that we're going to have a much higher number of people that are going to answer that. But the problem is, do we remember to actually answer the right question, to use the right answer when it matters? All the time? Sometimes in 1 minute, we have to answer that question 10 times. Everything that happens to us, and it keeps happening, what is it going to be? Are you going to use revenge? Are you going to think only on yourself? Or you're going to think about charity and be charitable? Which one it is? And who am I answering that to? To our own conscience. That's the truth with capital T. To our own conscience. That's what we're doing every day. Can we say that we answer A every time? We don't. We don't. But then, when people like Jesus or anybody else that comes along and they see and they know that we know what is right, and they come to us, this what you just did, it's wrong. And then we think, oh man, I should have chosen the other answer. I chose B. I chose to be selfish. I saw the opportunity to take revenge. I'm not talking about those movie revenges. I'm talking about very little ones. It's things that happen every time. You had the opportunity to answer that person in the same level, and you did. And then when someone comes along and tells us, especially if we are here and they remember something that we said in a presentation, a lecture, and we say, hey, that's not what you said when you were in front of all those people in the podium. That's not what you said. Remember what you said. That hurts even more. And then we raise our pride shield. And then we get mad at that person, and we come up with all sorts of reasons, more for ourselves than the other person. We say, yeah, but that guy told me this, told me that, I reacted this way. Nothing that matters. It doesn't matter. You've made the wrong choice. And that cracks our pride. It cracks the shield. And when that happens, our conscience leaks through. I'm using a lot of symbology, but this is something that it's very concrete and helps. It happens inside of us. We try, through our own stubbornness, to try to convince ourselves that we did the right thing, but we know it's the wrong thing. And then one day, our conscience comes, and we see that I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. And then it hurts. And we have a name for that pain. It's the pain of remorse. And we try everything we can to prevent remorse from coming. Why? Because when it comes, there's nothing we can do. It comes, and it's not going to go away. What do you have to do then? God always gives us another chance. We're going to be taken to the same place with the same question again. What do you choose? Here's the situation again. What do you choose now? charity or selfishness. And we want nothing more to go back to that situation and have the question again. Because that reparation is the only way for us to subside the pain of remorse. There's nothing else. It's a moral pain that we carry wherever we are. And it's like we see spikes, we see thorns everywhere. You can be in the most beautiful place in the world. You're still going to be in hell because that's inside of you. You carry that with you. And that's what Jesus referred to as hell, spiritual hell. It's our own remorse. And then on that situation, João de Angelis teaches us that we should not think about guilt. We should not think about sin. And just when that pain comes, we may feel self-pity. And we think, I'm guilty, I'm the lowest person in the world, so I'm just going to lower my head, lay in bed, I'm not going to do anything anymore. But that's very dangerous. Use the pain of remorse to teach you the responsibility of your acts. Teach you that you have to improve. You have to get better so that you don't do that again. And you have to be strong to repair. So it's not about guilt. It's not about sin. It's about responsibility. Who did this? I did. Okay, so clean it up. That's it. So you clean it. You repair what you did. You don't have to feel guilty. You have to feel the will to do better. That's the correct way of doing it. Pain, it shows us what's wrong. So if my foot hurts, there's something wrong with my foot. I have to look it up. I have to go to the doctor or whatever. It's the same thing with remorse. Remorse shows us when we made the wrong choice. And that pain, after we repair it, it could be in one life. Maybe it's going to be on the next life. Maybe it's going to take 2 lives. We don't know. But we're going to have the chance to repair it. And that pain is going to make us remember of our past decisions so that when that situation comes up again, I don't take the same road. I will take a different road. That is one of the worst fears when we are about to reincarnate. If we read the books, you see that shows over and over again. Okay, I learned, I repaired it, now it's time for me to go back. Sorry. To go through that situation again and apply what I've learned. And this time, choose the right answer. Choose charity over selfishness. But as everything, the test is not going to be done on something in us that's strong. Because what is strong is trained, it's okay. It's going to be done on something that is weak and has to be strengthened. And so this is the anxiety that we feel when we are coming back. Coming back to Earth, we are going to forget, at least in our conscience, we're going to forget the spiritual world, and we're going to concentrate on our incarnation. So the only guide is the moral virtue that we developed while we were there or while we were in the previous incarnation. So that's our only guide, our conscience, the truth. But you know what? We are learning. We are. That's why we are here today. It may seem just like a very simple gesture, to take your car on a Sunday and come here. But this shows that we see the importance of remind ourselves with what we already believe to be true. So that we get this fresh shower of positive energy that we can take to our week. So that it helps us to remember charity, 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 charity. But the word charity, I came to learn that in North America, sometimes it has a wrong connotation. It's something that is offensive. Oh, you're giving me charity. I don't need your charity. People say, no, this is not charity. I'm just helping you. But that's not what it actually means. So when Jesus was preaching charity, and what we use here in Spiritism as charity, it was actually asked in question 886 by Kardec, when he says, when he asks, what is the true meaning of the word charity, as Jesus understood it? And the Spirit's answer, benevolence towards everyone, indulgence toward the imperfection of others, and forgiveness of offenses. So there's no conditions there. Benevolence, everybody, indulgence, all the imperfections, and forgiveness of all the offenses. So this is it's a natural law. Charity is a law as solid as and as real as gravity, as attraction between opposite charges, conservation of energy. So it's not a law that we can express mathematically as the other ones, but it is a law that is as real as the others. Maybe one day we will be able to express mathematically the law of charity. Or maybe when we get there, we won't need math anymore. We'll be able to do it in our head. Math is just a way to remove the processing from our brain and put on paper using codes, just because it's too much for us to remember. But maybe when we get to that point, we'll have more evolved brains, more connected to our pure spirit, and we don't need all these codes and things on a piece of paper. We'll be able to do it in our minds and understand it right away. How good would that be? We don't have to take math classes and physics classes. We're going to okay, understood. Awesome. Even though I love those. I'm speaking on physics. There's a particular way that I see the law of charity, the natural law of charity. As I said many times, I spend my life in and out the laboratory. So I'm always testing and building things. And one of the main things that we look in every system is energy overrun. So the energy can be too much, and whatever it is that we are doing explodes, or energy could be too little and it dies out. Most of the time it explodes. So then, okay, you spend some time fixing it, and then you turn it on again, you change it here, change it there, so you try to predict what's going to happen before you turn it on. And once you figure everything out, and you learn to navigate the energy points, then you reach what we call a steady state, where the system is perfectly balanced and safe, and it keeps on working. You turn it on, you start humming, and everything works perfectly. That's the steady state. Charity, it brings us to that steady state. It's a region of perfect balance. You are benevolent to everybody. You are indulgent to other people's imperfections. You don't have to accept it, but you understand that you have imperfections too. So instead of getting mad at other people and judge other people, you understand that that's not the way. You have to be indulgent. If you want to fix the world, first you fix yourself. And your example We do as Leon Denis in the Life After Death, his book, where he writes, if with my books and the work of my life, I help to change one person, my incarnation is worth it. So that's the right way. So if with our example and changing ourselves, we can inspire one person to change, that'll be good enough. So we don't have to keep fighting and arguing with people. Just show in practice what it is that you want from the world. So benevolence, indulgence, forgiveness. When we reach this steady state where we don't go up and we don't go down, a perfect balance in life, where we are perfectly inserted in the laws that created us, laws of God. So we were created by God, whatever that word means. One day we're going to understand what is God. Right now we just say it's the main intelligence and the first cause of everything, supreme intelligence. Because we don't know how to express in a better way. But one day we're going to figure it out. And when charity means for us to be in complete synchronism with this law, is when you are capable of admiring the colors of fall. When you are there, and you instead of guilt and whatever worries that you have in your mind, you can actually appreciate the squirrels, the new light, the light of a new day, different colors of the trees. So you are inserted. You are participating in the world. You can see a new day and say, hey, this is just a product of gravity from a relatively small star and the angular momentum of the planet. Okay, still beautiful. Still beautiful. Why is that not God? That's God as well. The laws and science explains, just shows us a different version of God. So when we reach this state, we feel joy and peace. The problem is that we cannot stay there because we make the wrong choice again. Selfishness and pride. It's either up or down, but we don't stay in that place where you read in the message from Jonah de Angelis, calmness. That you trust God. Someone offended you. You don't have to connect to that person and never forget. You forgive the person. Because that person will also have the responsibility of their acts. So they will have to learn someday too, as you are learning now. Sometimes we are that person that has to be forgiven. And we know when this joy happens, because that's what we feel when we come here, when we help in the Spirit Center or in a church. We literally pay to work. We pay to work. This is what the volunteers do. But why do we do that? Because we know that somehow we feel that that's our duty. And by doing it, we reach this place of calmness. It makes us feel good. And then you can say, oh yeah, but you're thinking on yourself again. Yes, you are thinking about yourself. You are thinking about that. By being charitable, you're going to feel good. But that's not selfishness anymore. Selfishness is when you think only about yourself, nobody else. If you think about yourself and you think about others, you are already growing. Someday, the first part is going to be forgotten. You don't even think about yourself anymore. You just do it. You just do because that's the right thing to do. So that's the evolution. So charity can never be selfishness. Selfishness is you think only about yourself, not yourself and others. And this is the most important objective of all of us incarnated in this planet. It's not the label. It's not trying to differentiate ourselves from others. To go into debates of people that do not believe in reincarnation. By all means, if you find someone that wants to talk about it, talk about it. But you don't have the duty to convince that person. Only us can convince ourselves. So if during several years of my life, I carried that burden. I have to convince people because that's how I'm going to save the world. Look at the arrogance. And that made me very anxious because I thought that was what I had to do. And then I finally learned that, man, you have so much that you have to do in yourself instead of keep looking at others. Just do on your own life. Let others deal with their lives. If there's a situation where we can talk about it and we can tell others about this wonderful path that we are following that makes us feel so good, talk about it. But respect others of other faith, because there's always a point where you can no longer explain why you believe. We all have that. We can say, oh yeah, but I participate in leadership groups and this and that. Okay, have you ever seen a colony yourself? Have you ever seen a solar? Have you been there? If I have, I don't remember. But I haven't seen it in front of me. Why do you believe that? Oh, it makes sense to me. I have no doubt that happens. Okay, but that's you. It doesn't mean that you have to push that into another person. You can talk about it. Talk about it. You can tell, hey, if you are interested, you can read Masumar. It's a very nice book. Or watch the movie. And then you let that person follow that path. And then if that person comes back, hey, I don't believe in that. But I do believe that to be benevolent, to forgive, and to be indulgent is the way forward. This I really learned from what I read, and that's part that to me touched me the most. That's good enough. We're all going to discarnate and we're going to go to the other side. We're all going to meet there. And then you're going to say, oh, you don't believe that you're a spirit, you are here now. So we're all going to get there. So that's why that's the main thing for our world today. To learn. It's something so simple. It's something that is so right for all of us, and we're all going to agree with that if we are in the same room. But we don't do it. For reasons that make no sense. We still are seeing today, in some regions of the planet, selfishness and pride win against charity and benevolence. And this creates suffering from both sides. And all we can do is to try to pray, to try to bring inspiration through thoughts, and continue working on ourselves. Because the world is not lost. The world is not on its own. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a plan. And we are in a situation where most of these spirits are in their last chance, in their last incarnation, their last chance to change. And they feel it, even though they cannot explain it, they feel it. And that creates anxieties and that most of us cannot explain. So if I can say something to finalize our talk, is to trust God. Trust that love and charity is a natural law that will make everything fall into place, into the right place. Everything follows a perfect balance. Sometimes we have a transient period, but it's going to come. We are going, all these spirits in this planet will learn one day to be good people, including us. We're all going to get there. So if we let charity to be in our minds all the time, so that one day our hearts can be strong enough to behave according to our own conscience. That will be enough for all of us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Rafa. Do you have any questions or comments? No? Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Rafa. A lot to think about it. Let's try to do our best from now on. Thank you for those who joined us online. We're gonna get ready for the classes here. Hope you guys have a lovely weekend.